The NHS in England says it aims to reduce the number of patients stuck in hospital beds by a third over the next few months. More than 700 patients remain in hospital in Sussex despite being medically fit to leave. That's almost 17% of all acute hospital space in the county occupied by someone who doesn't need the bed. Our health correspondent Mark Norman has been speaking to the Chief Nursing Officer at NHS Sussex about the scale of the problem and how they intend to improve things.
It is a priority, obviously, for every region. But how on earth did we end up with just under 800 people in this position, patients in a bed that you could use for somebody else? That seems like an awful lot.
It is a lot of people. When you hear the number, it does sound a lot of people. There are multiple reasons why people can have a prolonged discharge or a prolonged stay in hospital. I think what we've got to do is work collectively together with our local authority partners, with our voluntary community sector, and also with families. It's really important that we work with families to help people get home as quickly as possible.
Is it naive of me to say if you could solve this problem, you'd free up a lot of space in A&E, improve ambulance handover times, you'd really begin to free up the system if you could just solve this delayed discharge issue?
Of course, it's an absolute focus. We recognise by solving this problem, as you've described, it will create some capacity and movement for patients through the hospital.
So these are the latest numbers. 760 patients in hospital beds who are medically fit to leave. More than 500 in acute hospitals, the balance in community hospitals or mental health beds. How quickly do you think you can get on top of this and create that space that you're going to need? And if I come back to you in January, are the numbers going to be considerably better, or are they going to be, would you consider success for the numbers to be pretty static?
So we're looking at around about 30% reduction of that initial 800 figure by the end of March. So we've got plans in place to do that. And as you say, we're looking at the numbers of people on a daily basis, and if not, a half day basis to see the reduction in those numbers.
And the final question, are your social care partners, your community trust partners, are they up for the job? Have they got the capacity and the money and the space to help with this?
Yeah, absolutely. They're absolutely critical to the success.
They're critical, but can they do it?
Well, they're signed up and they're critical to the success of it, and they're fully engaged in all the work that we're doing, both in the long-term discharge programme, but also in the 4 weeks as we're doing what we're calling a focused piece of work over the winter period.
But an additional problem, a rising flu and COVID rates, leading to more people being admitted to hospital. And for some reason, the vast majority of frontline healthcare workers have not taken up the offer of a COVID vaccination. The take-up by frontline healthcare workers in hospitals is dreadful in some places. I mean, some hospitals it's certainly under a quarter, sometimes under 10%. Your own staff aren't taking the vaccination, which can't be helping the situation for patients and the situation in our hospitals.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of work across Sussex with our clinical leaders, ensuring that we are offering the vaccinations to our frontline workforce. When we look across the 42 systems across England, we can see that we rank 16th out of 42 for COVID uptake of vaccinations and 19th for the flu vaccinations. And through this sort of conversation today, I would be encouraging any frontline health and care worker to step forward for both their COVID and flu vaccination.
Well, Mark joins me now. Is this problem of bed blocking getting worse?
Oh yeah, definitely. Right across the country, it's up around 43%. There's around 12,500 patients in this position, and it's winter, which just exacerbates the whole thing. And it's the impact this has on patients. It's the risk to their recovery by staying in hospital too long. And if you stay in for many days, sometimes weeks, as happens sometimes, that risk simply goes up considerably. And then it's the impact on hospitals. A&E is rammed. If you're stuck on a trolley in a corridor in A&E, it's possibly because they can't free up beds upstairs. It impacts on ambulance handovers as well. And then it's impacting community services and social care, which is an increasing problem. Last year, the NHS threw a load of money at this problem. This year, they haven't done that. So I think Sussex, being fairly ambitious with their kind of cut these numbers by a third, and even if they achieve it, they'll still have 500 odd patients stuck in hospital who can't go anywhere.
Mark, thank you.